All right, let's talk about something that might be secretly holding your crops back. A kind of hidden hunger in your soil. We're diving into sulfur today. It's a nutrient that is absolutely critical for a healthy harvest, but honestly, it's often overlooked. So let's dig in and figure out why it's so important. So we're going to start by looking at a really common problem. One that a lot of growers run into, sometimes without even knowing what the real cause is. It's like a mystery playing out right there in the field.
I bet you've seen this before. It's a classic, right? This illustration nails it. On the left, you've got this vibrant, healthy-looking plant. And on the right, well, its neighbor's looking pretty weak, kind of stunted and pale. That plant is clearly sending out an SOS, but what's it asking for?
Okay, let's zoom in on the biggest clue. Now, lots of things can make a plant's leaves turn yellow, but when it's happening specifically on the newest, youngest leaves, that's not just a random symptom, it's pointing a finger at a very specific problem. So what is going on here?
And the answer, more often than you might think, is a sulfur deficiency. We can't think of sulfur as just some minor player in plant health. No way, it's an absolute powerhouse nutrient that's fundamental to how a plant grows.
That's right, you hear about NPK all the time, right? Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They're the big three. Well, you can go ahead and add an S to that list because sulfur is officially considered the fourth major nutrient. And in today's high-yield farming, its importance is just becoming more and more obvious.
So what does it actually do? Well, think of it this way. It's a core building block for essential amino acids. And that means if you don't have sulfur, the plant can't make proteins. Simple as that. It also helps the plant use nitrogen more efficiently, and it's absolutely vital for making chlorophyll. Without it, the plant's whole energy factory just grinds to a halt. Okay, so how do plants get this stuff from the soil? This chart has a ton of info, but here's the one thing you really need to know. Look at the bottom there. Plants can only absorb sulfur when it's in its usable sulfate form. That single detail is the key to fixing the whole problem. So, knowing that plants need sulfate, how does that change the game when you're out in the field? It means the kind of fertilizer you pick matters a lot. Generally, you've got two main choices, the fast-acting stuff and the slow-release stuff.
This is honestly the best way to think about it. Sulfate-based fertilizers are like a fast-acting painkiller. The sulfate is already in a form the plant can use, so it gets to work almost immediately to fix a deficiency. Elemental sulfur, on the other hand, is like taking a long-term vitamin. It's not about a quick fix, it's about a slow, steady supply for the future.
So, why is elemental sulfur so slow? Well, it's not magic, it's biology. When you put it on the soil, you're not actually feeding the plant directly. Nope. You're feeding the bacteria in the soil. These little microbes get to work, they oxidize the sulfur, and they slowly convert it into that sulfate that the plants can finally drink up. And that whole process, it takes time. A good bit of time, actually. You're looking at about 6 to 8 weeks before that elemental sulfur is actually available to your crops. That timeline is so critical for planning. If your plants are looking yellow right now, elemental sulfur is not going to be your quick fix. Okay, so you've got the science down. Now let's get practical. How do you actually spot this hidden hunger when you're walking the fields? What are you looking for? Let's go back to that same illustration. Looking at them side by side, the contrast is pretty stark, isn't it? The healthy plant is this nice, deep, uniform green. The deficient one has that classic yellowing. But here's the key. Look where it's happening. It's on the newest growth, right at the top of the plant. So here's your checklist. Sign number 1, the dead giveaway, is that yellowing on new leaves. And why there? It's because sulfur isn't mobile inside the plant. The plant can't just move it from old leaves to new ones. So the new growth suffers first. You'll also see stunted growth in general, and of course, that's going to hit your yield and your quality hard. All right, so you can spot the problem. Now let's talk about picking the right tool for the job. And choosing the right fertilizer? Well, it's about a lot more than just grabbing the bag with the highest percentage on it. So here are some of the usual suspects. Your eyes probably go right to that bentonite sulfur. 90%, that's huge. But remember what we just said, that's the slow release, elemental stuff. Then you've got the sulfate options like ammonium sulfate or gypsum. They're ready to go immediately, but the percentages are lower. And this right here is probably the most important thing to remember from this whole talk. That 90% looks amazing on paper, but if you need a quick fix for a crop that's struggling right now, it's the wrong choice. You have to think bigger. What does your soil need? What crop are you working with? And what's your timing? Are you fixing a problem for today or building health for tomorrow?
So really, it all just boils down to this one simple mantra. You need the right form, the right amount, and the right time. If you get those three things dialed in, you're going to be successful.
Okay, to wrap things up, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Because applying sulfur isn't just about feeding this season's crop. It's really an investment in the long-term health of your soil.
I mean, just look at these benefits. Sulfur does way more than just feed the plant. It can help balance your pH. It can improve the actual structure of the soil, making it less compacted. It feeds those good microbes we rely on. It can even help deal with high sodium levels. You're not just fertilizing anymore, you're building a healthier ecosystem from the ground up.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. It is so easy to just focus on what the plant needs right now. But the truly sustainable, the truly profitable way to think is to build the foundation. By really understanding and managing a nutrient like sulfur, you're not just feeding your plants for today. You're building a more resilient, more productive soil for every single harvest yet to come.